Hello and welcome back to this course. In this video, we are still working with the string data type. And for this very video, we are going to be working with string slicing. So what does it mean to slice your string? So here we have this particular string variable declared and I called it my string and I set it to this text formatting. So I already have the indexes here. So I'm going to just paste it at the top as a comment. So now we have the indexes of each and every member of the word formatting. So we have the positive index on the first row and then we have the negative index on the second row. Okay, what does string slicing mean? Well, string slicing means or access just a certain portion of your string. Okay, so we have this complete string here formatting, and if for any reason you want to access only the first to the fourth character, you already know that you'll be accessing from the 0 index to the third index, right? So and if you want to access from the first to the fourth character from the back, you know that you'll be accessing, if you're using the negative indexing, you'll be accessing the -1 to the -4 index from the back, right? So right now, I am going to write out the syntax for slicing string. So now, if you want to slice your string, the first thing you can do is that, well, you can set that particular action to a variable. So we can call it slicing if you want. But the most important thing is the syntax of the slicing. So you can then call your string, the name of your string variable, my string, and then you open and close your square bracket. Now, this time around, the square bracket here is not going to just have one value. Your Python is expecting, if you want to perform a string slicing operation, Python is expecting that you enter about 2 to 3 arguments. So the first argument is called the start argument. The second one then followed by a colon, and the second argument is the end argument, and then the third argument is the step argument. So what does this mean? Well, all of these are going to be integers that you'll be passing, and those are indexes. But this last one, this step, is just telling Python that, for instance, you want to be jumping the characters by 2 steps. Okay, so if I want to write something like FRA, so I'll be jumping the O and the M, right? So that means I am increasing the step. So this time around, we are just going to pass in the third argument. But if you want to just access a particular portion of your variable, you can just use your 2 arguments. So now let's talk about the start and the end parameter. So the start parameter is the starting index, and then the end parameter is the ending index. So for instance, I want to access this text form. That means I'm starting from the 0 index and I'm going to end at index 4. Now, don't get confused. By this, we are saying that the end index that we are passing here, Python is not going to access that index. It is going to stop at the index before the last index, before the end index, right? So that is how to slice your string. So, and it's also worthy of note that you can as well reverse the movement. You can come from the back, right? You can decide to come from index -1 to whatever negative index, maybe to -9 that we already have here. So now at this, I'm going to clear this box and I'm going to enter the proper argument. So what do I want to access? If I'm starting from F to M, what do I need to pass in? I am passing my index 0 and then I'm adding my semicolon. And remember, I want M to be printed on the screen. So I am going to end at index 4. Python is not going to print that last index. It is going to print the index before the index that you specified. I hope this makes sense. So this is simply the slicing of strings. So if I want to look at what I have done, what I have sliced, so if I want to see the output of this slicing, I can print it to the screen. So, and I'm going to pass in the slicing variable. and I'm going to save and run. So now we have just form, right? So if I want to access any other particular index, you can just look at all of this. So assuming I want to start from this T and then end at 9. Okay. So, but this time around, I want 9 to be included, the index 9 to be included, but there is no 10, right? So what we can do here is that we enter the index 5, and then the end index, we just leave it vacant. We leave it open. So it is going to go all the way, and then it will cut across the last index. So I'm going to save this and run it. So this time we have the last character printed on the screen. So now, just like we left the last index we left it open, we can actually leave the starting index open if you are printing all the way from the first index to whatever index that we want to access. So let's say I want to end at the sixth index. I pass in 7. So, and again, I save and I run. And again, I have formatting. So now let's look at the step argument that I mentioned earlier. So if, for instance, I want Python to be jumping the numbers, so I can say that I want to start from the 0 index, and or I don't want to write the 0 index, but I'm stopping at index 9. So remember that by this, we are going to stop at index 8, right? So, and I'm going to pass my semicolon and I'm going to enter 2. So what we are going to have here, we are going to be having F, R, A, T, and N, right? So I'm going to save this and run. So now that is one way to go from the front. So now if I want to access this particular letters from the back using the negative indexing, so I'm going to set another variable, back slicing, and I'm going to set it to my string, and I'll open my square brackets again. So sorry, now I'm starting from index 1, I'm going all the way to index 7. So if I want to go all the way from -7 to -1, so what I can do is that I will type in this -7 and write my colon, then to -1. So, and here I'm going to print that variable I just created. So I'm going to print the back slicing, and this time around I will run it. So now you have this Martin. Now, if I want the last character to print, what I can always do is to leave the last argument open. So I'm going to save, and if you run it now, you have your N, your G printed for you. So remember that even here, you can still add your step. So now I can add my step. If I want the step to be 2, so that it will be skipping 2 characters, I can save this and run. So here we have the step. So remember that here I did not pass in the end variable because I want everything to print, right? So remember that this second colon is going to introduce the step for you. So now another thing that we can do with this string from slicing is that we can actually print the reverse of this entire word. So if we want to reverse it, I can just set the variable to reverse, and I'm going to set it to my string and pass in this double colon, and then I'll pass in -1. So, and then I'll print that reverse. So, and I'll save it. So now we have the formatting. So now we have the word formatting reversed. Okay. So now these are all the things we can do with string slicing. And remember that we are taking notes of 5 facts. First is that you can use the positive indexing from 0 to the length of your string, then you can also use the negative indexing from -1 to the length of your string. And the next thing is that when you are entering your parameter for your slicing, you are going to be needing 2 to 3 parameters, and each of them will be separated with a colon. So the first parameter is your start index, the second parameter is your stop index, and then your last parameter is the step, right? And then you can also reverse your string using these two colon and then -1. So thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next.